Well, good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started this morning. Love the social distancing, love the masks. Feel free to come a little closer if you want. That'd be okay. But we certainly appreciate the social distancing piece. Before we get started, if you would just maybe just allow us all to be a bit reflective and just take about 20 seconds, a little moment of silence in memory of 9/11. Today is 9/11. While we're here to celebrate today, obviously 19 years ago, it was a very difficult time for our nation. So if you could just allow us 20 seconds and then we'll get started. Thank you. You know, during that difficult time 19 years ago, the one thing it did, as horrific as it was, is it seemed to bring us together as a nation, quite frankly. And when we come together, we can do some amazing things. And today we're here to celebrate something that's amazing because we all came together. It is my sincere pleasure to welcome you all here today to celebrate, quite frankly, a dream come true, a dream that could only be achieved through partners like you and through collaboration like you. Today is the result of a dream that was created many, many years ago, and some of you I know could raise your hand and say, I was part of that dream 20 years ago. And that was a dream filled with the hope of providing greater opportunities for our children and our grandchildren. Today, we get to open these doors to that dream, to provide a first-class facility that will enable our students to reach their fullest potential towards a future full of endless possibilities. What an exciting day that is. When I arrived in Mount Vernon 8 years ago, blessed to come here, one of the first things I heard about over those first couple months was this dream about a field house and providing facilities for our kids as they grow older. And what happened was in 2014, we actually started to begin the realization of that dream. We actually had a stadium renovation project, and part of that was a three-phase approach. One was a new turf field that would really benefit our community. The other was a track, an all-weather track that could be used by MVNU and be used by the community and, of course, Mount Vernon City Schools. And the other was a field house. Well, we accomplished in 2014 two of those three phases that we put in. We still had that field house sitting out there. And that field house was something, that, again, that has been dreamed about for a long, long time. That field house, really, we wanted to have some additional courts. We wanted to have a true weight room for our youngsters that they could use. We wanted to bring our wrestlers back on campus here in Mount Vernon. We wanted locker rooms for the stadium so that we could host special events. But you know, we weren't able to complete that back then, but we never lost sight of that dream. And at the same time, here recently, we recognize we have a number of other priorities. One meaning our bus garage and our maintenance facility was in bad need of repair. And we needed to do something about that. We also understood that coming on here to campus, here at the middle school and the high school, we needed an extra route to get in here. You could really only come from Division Street or go through the Career Center. Safety was incredibly important. And so there were two real priorities, and we found ourselves like, we really would like to finish phase 3 of a field house, but we got these other priorities. And interestingly enough, all three of those things became part of what is now known as the Education Gateway Project. And that's really neat. Two new priorities, one old dream not yet realized, became the Education Gateway Project. From the very, very beginning, we realized that in order for the Education Gateway Project to be successful, we had to, number one, share the vision. What was the vision for the Education Gateway Project? And number two, we had to put together the right team. And the right team is always important to put that together. Well, when it comes to visions, there's no secret that Ariel Corporation, and specifically Karen Wright and her family and her executive team, they are visionaries. Perhaps one of the eminent visionaries in the country regarding the energy business. So we had an opportunity to go sit in front of their executive team and share the vision for the Education Gateway Project. It was an amazing conversation. Took about 2 hours. I know David was there, and Steve was there, and Karen was there, and it was just a great conversation. We walked away from that meeting 2 hours later even more committed to broaden our vision and to seek out shared opportunities and develop strong collaborative partnerships. Those were the three things that we came out of that meeting with. And to our blessing, Ariel Corporation and the Wright family kicked off our fundraising efforts by matching 100% of the donations that we could raise to raise this beautiful building that you see today. The other partnerships that have come along the way that we didn't anticipate when we initially started that are so vital, the Jacket Boosters have always been a vital partner to the schools. And they never let the dream die of having this field house. And I want to thank them for that. Bob Teal was leading the charge, as I know a lot of others in that group were, but Bob was at the forefront, and he really kept the fire stoked, and he was meeting with people and bringing around operating engineers. And so, Bob, your extra efforts there are greatly appreciated. Another interesting partnership that came out of this, and something we had thought about all along, is how do we share some of these services? And I can remember one day James Smith called me up from NBNU, and he said, "Bill, I hear you're talking about a field house, and you know, we could really use this, and we're looking to do that." And before you knew it, Jen Odenweller had us all connected, and we were beginning to have conversations about how could we share resources. Do we have to build 2 field houses? Do we have to have 2 tracks? Could we have 1 indoor track? Could you share our soccer field? Partnerships began to develop all over the place, and it was amazing. We developed a renewed partnership, a special partnership with Mount Vernon City. Brian Ball has been instrumental in a lot of the conversations that we've had. He's helped us jump over some of the hurdles to put this facility on this land and the Yellow Jacket Drive and making sure all that happens. And I know he had the commitment from City Council and from Mayor Matt and from Mayor Mavis along the way. What a wonderful partnership. Knox Community Foundation came along, another incredible partner, and they helped us with the fundraising components of this and set up special funds that our donors could donate to, and they donated to those things as well. These partnerships were amazing. And pulling all that together, and I would say thank you to Kim Rose, because Kim understood through all the different projects they had done throughout the community that when you pull different entities together, MVNU and the city and the Community Foundation and Mount Vernon City Schools, you have to make sure we're all talking the same language and we're meeting periodically. And he was gracious enough to do that and keep us right on track. So I thank him for that. There's an old saying that goes, teamwork makes the dream work. Have any of you ever heard that one? Teamwork makes the dream work. And to accomplish the Education Gateway project, it was going to require a team of all-stars. You're here today because you're one of those all-stars. This presentation and this ability to say thank you today is because you are on the all-star team. So in the spirit of a football Friday night, allow me to introduce the all-star team here today. So at the center, snapping the ball on every one of our decisions is the Mount Vernon Board of Education. And I see many of them here, from Dr. Bennett to Jody to Steve to Tim. I know even Cheryl was going to come, and Mary. Thank you, Board of Education, for being that centerpiece, that piece that would snap the ball in every play. At the guard, sitting right next to the center, were the Jacket Boosters, guarding the dream of a field house. Thank you to Bob and Josh, Denise, Loretta, and Monica. I saw all of you here today. Thank you for not giving up on that dream and guarding that dream. Of course, out there at the tackle spots, that's where the real work gets done. They're the ones that are tackling and doing the dirty work. Those are all of those local contractors that we used. And I'd like to mention a special tackle. The left tackle, if you're a football aficionado, and if you don't know, I was blessed to coach football for a lot of years. The left tackle is that one anchor on the line. And we were blessed, as far as this local contractor group, to have a general contracting firm under Adina. And Dwight Farmer not only acted as a general contractor for Adina, but he was also an advocate for this project and for Mount Vernon City Schools. He advocated for us when he didn't have to, and yet at the same time he was able to balance all that. And so Dwight, I want to say a special thank you to you for all of your efforts, because this is his home, and it was evident. At the tight end spot, kind of rounding that offensive line, are our financial partners, Knox Community Foundation, Park National Bank, People's Bank, and all of our generous donors. Thank you, Bob. And Lisa is here. Sam Baroni is here. He retired right towards the end of it, but Sam, you will always be part of this. I thank you for that as well. Bob, thank you for what you've done at Park National. And then you have the wide receiver spot. Now, I was a wide receiver in college. I don't necessarily look like a wide receiver today. John tells me I'm more like a guard today than a wide receiver. I don't take that personally, but that's just the way it is. Well, those wide receivers, they make the big play, and every team needs their playmakers. The Ariel Corporation and the Ariel Foundation continue to make big plays for Mount Vernon City Schools and our surrounding community. So I would say a special thanks to Karen, to Alex, who I know is here. David Stuller is here, and he's been part of all this. Jen Odenweller, thank you for being the big playmakers to get our offense rolling. And then finally, at the two running back spots, right there behind the quarterback, we had the city of Mount Vernon. Thank you, Mayor Matt, for City Council. I see members of City Council here. Thank you to Mayor Mavis, and of course I've mentioned Brian Ball. Without that city partnership, this couldn't have been possible, and I needed that running back off to our left. And then the running back off to our right was MVNU. This partnership was really just kind of a special thing, and I've gotten to know James over the period of time. And Dr. Spalding, you've hired an outstanding young man in James. Dr. Spalding, I'd like to thank you for your continued support in this project. Chip is an amazing athletic director, so thank you to those folks at MVNU. So what does that leave us? That leaves us with the quarterback. And every team needs a great quarterback. If you watched the game last night, you know the two-time MVP was a quarterback from the Kansas City. And it takes that person. Justin Sanford was a quarterback of this project. And I'll tell you what, I can't say thank you enough to Justin for all of the effort and hard work that he's put in. We needed a quarterback. We're all working behind the scenes. The board was there. I was able to step in and help, but we needed a quarterback to march us down the field. And I can't say enough good things and much appreciation for Justin for his leadership. So from the bottom of my heart, we want to thank you for making this dream come true. Today we have an amazing field house that was funded 100% by private donations. I can't wait to cut the ribbon and to allow you who haven't had an opportunity to see what this beautiful facility is like to enjoy the successes of our partnerships. Thank you so much.
He did catch me off guard earlier today, so if you saw it on Facebook, I'm going to be better this time around, I promise. But it is so fitting what Bill shared in the concept of team, and truly we are blessed to have a great team. And the team, as Bill shared, in my opinion, started with Bob Teal. And Bob is here, and his wife Gwen, and his awesome kids that have played here. But Bob was instrumental in this whole thing. From the time that I interviewed for this position 5 years ago, Bob has been at my beck and call, and I apologize sometimes for calling him so often, but he's been the driving force for me and inspiring me to keep this drive alive. So Bob, thank you for your leadership, for your passion for Mount Vernon, for our kids. You are an all-star. And so many others, as Bill shared. And one thing when we went through this project and process that was vitally important to us was keeping things local and supporting and having contractors that could help us build this facility, these dream facilities. And because you were funding it, we wanted to keep those dollars here in Mount Vernon. And so many of them stepped up to the plate, and many of them are here today and tonight. And so let me just briefly go down through. Brian Stafford, of RCI Mechanical. Mike Hyde and Marlon from SME Electric. Rob Smalls and the Smalls family who provided both concrete and paving and sand for our long jump pit. Thank you to Rob and the Smalls family. Ohio Operating Engineers. I know they're not local, but it was a local connection that helped us get there. For pizza on Friday afternoons that Bob and I would have to buy for their operating engineers, they provided free labor and free equipment. We had to provide the materials and pizza for them to extend Yellow Jacket Drive. And when we opened Yellow Jacket Drive in this parking lot, or the portion of the parking lot last football season, I think more people were excited about the potholes being removed from the parking lot and the extension of Yellow Jacket Drive without truly understanding until you walk into here. Truly a great partnership and a team. Ohio Floors, Foley Floors from Mount Vernon, Aaron Oakley from Custom Wired, Johnny Payne and Serenity Home Improvements, Bob Kessler's here, Kessler Sign Company, who did all of our signs and graphics inside. And when you go inside and you see these graphics, I went to Bob and said, Bob, here's what I envision. Can you make this happen? And he said, no, but I have a team of people that can make this happen. And he did. He absolutely knocked it out of the park. And when you come through the front entry, this is just a concept. It's not finished. We wanted to put something on the wall so you could see what the vision is for the front of this entry. It's going to be a testament and a testimony to Ariel, along with you, all of our donors, along our donor wall. But I asked Bob, I need something for Friday. Just give me anything. I know it's not ready, and I know it's not right, but will you put something up there so people can envision it? Because we wanted to open this as soon as we can, and I can tell you as soon as we can, starts Monday afternoon. From practices and weight room already scheduled out, wrestling, open mats on Wednesday, to volleyball playing contests in here next Saturday, we wanted our kids in the building. So I couldn't wait for Bob. But he helped me out, so I appreciate it, Bob, and I can't wait to see the final piece of this. Brad Bowers of Mount Vernon Overhead Doors, Tyler Bevington at Lowe's, who helped us out as well, and the OSST Sport, the flooring that you're going to see. Brian Cole is a new relationship, but he is family to Mount Vernon now, because our track surface that you see in there is the first of its kind in the country. They offered it to us because they wanted a showcase facility to market it to other colleges and universities across the country, and they already have. There's 16 colleges already lined up to walk through these doors to see this surface. They did it without upcharging us so that they could put it in. The first of its kind, it is an elite, it's called ProTrax Elite, an elite surface. So Brian's a part of our family now. And Dwight. Dwight Farmer and Adina. If you heard, we can run the tape back because this is being videotaped. You are the left tackle. You and Tommy, who scares me most of the time, and Chuck, who is not here. But what Adina did, from jumping off this job because Bob says, we've got the money to do the concession stand, we've got 3 months. Jumping off this to get that done before and turn the keys over to us on Friday afternoon before our Friday first football game. You are our left tackle, which means you protect me. Did you hear that part of it? Forever now. You protect me. I'll take Tommy up on that one. But to Dwight and the Adina team, absolutely phenomenal. And we appreciate it. What you are going to see as you walk through this facility is just, it's unbelievable. And it's special. And it's all because of you. Every one of you. No matter the amount that you pay, you donated, whether it was $10, $20, $50,000, it is all vitally important. And I appreciate it with my whole heart. We are so blessed for so many of you for what you did for our kids and what you did for this community. So thank you. And there's some special rooms in here. And I want to talk about a few of them as we walk through, because you're going to see them as you go in. When you first come through, after you go through the entryway, which is a tribute to our donors and certainly to Ariel, the athletic training room is going to be on your right-hand side. So to Kevin and Denise Conway and Doctors Jarrett and Susie Helming, thank you. Conway Pharmacy, Dr. Jarrett and Susie Helming Athletic Training Room is going to be a state-of-the-art facility for our kids and our programs for years to come. So thank you to Kevin and Denise, and certainly to the Helmings. Mortallero McDonald's Community Room. I see JoJo in the back. Have you ever eaten at McDonald's on china, real china, glass plates? I would go to lunch with Joe and he would come, it would be served on glass plates. It was the best McDonald's I've ever had. And Joe, you are a true friend, a friend to this community. I remember those meetings and those lunches to a T, and I'll always cherish them. So thank you, Joe. Francie Bizios, Jim Henry, and her mom, Anastasia, here with us today. Francie, you can blame my wife for the call that you got to meet with me and for me to ask you for money. Because she had a CEO magazine and there was an article about you and Jim and your family in there. And in there it said, from a small town, and their family owned a restaurant in Mount Vernon. And all the wonderful things that you've accomplished in your life, I said, I need to find Francie Bizios. She's a Mount Vernon alum. So I started digging, and the stars aligned. And when we show you the Bizios family weight room, it is truly a special facility. So thank you for coming. Obviously, Ariel and this Energy Fieldhouse, and I can't wait to show you the history. And we have one more room. It's our wrestling room. It was one of those original things on our napkin drawing that said we need a gym, we need one court, and we need a wrestling room and some locker rooms. And to bring wrestling home and how big it is in this community for our Little Stingers and our Killer Bees program to what Coach Cornell is doing, it's been led by legends. And John Brown and John Fry and this group of alum that continue to come back. It's a special room. So we had 2 anonymous donors that came forward and said, we want to support this wrestling room. We want to support this wrestling room, but we don't want any acknowledgement for it. Instead, I told you I wasn't going to do this. I was going to be better this time. Instead, and here's part of the reason why. Let me just go off topic for just a second. 5 years ago when I was in my interview, and they were talking about this, when Bill started to talk about his interview and talking about it for so long, I was in a room, a panel of coaches, and to my right seated was John Brown, the late John Brown. And John talked about this room. He talked about the dream and the need for this room. So when these 2 anonymous donors stepped up and said, we want you to do it, and acknowledge and recognize both John Brown and John Fry. So you will walk in, state-of-the-art facility, to the John Brown and John Fry wrestling room. And lastly, you're going to experience a track and a gym that will rival. I got a text message from a company that came through this facility 3 weeks ago to see this. And it says, I see facilities all over the country, and this is one of the finest I've ever seen. Congratulations, proud to partner with you, etc. So I'm going to stop talking and stop crying and say, here's what we ask you to do. Please wear a mask. If you don't have one, we have extra masks up here. If you could just kind of stagger yourselves as you come through, not everybody at once. We'll ask some of our coaches to kind of file in the back, and maybe our contractors, since you guys have been through it, you can come in after, or maybe go through the locker rooms if coaches, and those that have seen it, maybe go through the locker rooms and come back in.
Here and keep our masks on. All right, because I'm the football guy, I'm going to pull an audible. And the audible is that our quarterback has to cut this ribbon for us today. So, quarterback, come on over here and cut the ribbon.
picture? Good? All right. It is amazing. You are all encouraged to come in, not everybody at once. So just kind of make your way in through the doors, and we'll be around to answer questions and help guide you around our field house. Thank you very much for coming.
If anybody would like a tour, kind of has a tour guide, if you want to kind of hang out just over here to the right, otherwise feel free to look on your own. But if you want someone to walk you through, we're willing to just kind of walk you through each one of the pieces.